what point do you think it's worthwhile getting into a shop? Like, is there a revenue point? Is there a size point of equipment, employees? Especially like for guys like we run out of a house with two-car garage, big yard.
Mhm.
It's hard to justify sometimes moving into a shop other than the professional appearance, I guess, per se.
How many employees do you have right now?
Through the busy season, so from like May to end of October, we typically run with about 4 employees. Through the winter time, we just run with two.
Mhm.
They're both on just salary. We keep everything down to concrete for all of our residential customers, so they're happy with that.
Are you running when it comes to the shop space? What's your revenue like annually going to be projected for this year versus what you think that rented space is going to cost you for the shop?
Like we can run, we get about 250 per truck and trailer. So two guys running each truck and trailer, and like we're just running off of a corner lot kind of right now in a residential neighborhood. Neighbors are fine with it and everything like that. But I think moving into a shop, it wouldn't really build our revenue at all. I
Right.
think it would typically just be for the presentation of the company. I don't know if it seems a little bit posh to say that, but I guess that's kind of where I'm at with it. But the only reason why I've never bought one or released one is I just didn't see it building the revenue in any sense, just overall curb appeal, or I guess, of the company. But I was wondering if there was a point in which you think that it's worthwhile, regardless of revenue or anything like that.
Yeah, usually once you start getting 4 employees, for example, it's actually gonna come as a form of necessity because what's going to happen is your HOA or, like, the city limits and, like, requirements are gonna say, "Hey, you can't run a business out of this area, it's residential." So, a lot of times, you'll be kind of forced your hand to eventually move into a commercial space or shop space, etcetera. The second reason in terms of like, is it going to improve revenue? You're 100% right. It won't. And it'll actually hurt the business from a cash flow perspective because now you have this cost that you right now don't have to pay for. And so, really, though, what the biggest benefit of a shop space is when it comes to a team member, like an employee, it's just weird showing up your boss's house, especially like a residential neighborhood. You're parking down the street. Like, it's just weird. No, they're coming out, their kids are coming out in their pajamas. They're finishing up breakfast and then coming out to their garage. It's just not a great environment for most team members don't want to be there. And I just don't see a lot of team members staying a long time and building their career with a business that's operating from the personal house. Now, if you had 5 acres and you had a shop space next to your house, and you had some separation, etc., totally awesome. Let's go. So at 250,000 in annual revenue, if per truck, so I'm gonna guess like 500,000-600,000 a year, you can start to afford to get the shop space. And then it's a matter of, if I have better employees, will I be able to charge my customers an extra $5 per hour? Right. So if I'm charging $70 per hour, would my customers be willing to pay an extra pay $75 per hour for great employees? If the answer to that is yes, then go get the shop space, because having the shop space will allow you to get the better employees. You'll retain them longer. You'll be able to train them better, etc. And so it's just simply a matter of, yes, it'll add to your cost 100%. That money is going to come out of what you would otherwise spend on like marketing, for example. However, having that shop space is going to be a great tool to retain talent. It's going to be somewhat decent, like you talked about, for a brand or for the image sake. But really, no one drives by a lot of these spaces that were kind of on the city limits or outside of the space. It's rare that you're like next to a highway. If in that case, then you can look at it as more of a marketing expense. But really, it's not going to improve the image of the business even as much as internally to your team. It'll improve the image of the business, and having nicer trucks and having better equipment and having nicer shop space. Absolutely, the team cares about that, not so much the customer. So as the business grows, you have to start just looking as overhead expense, part of doing business. And if you're going to go past 4 employees, you're probably going to need a shop space. So if you have like 5, 6, 7 employees, now you're going to start probably getting reported, and you're going to be forced to go get the shop space anyways.